All right, today we're doing completing the square. So as an intro, we're gonna start with perfect square. So let's say we have n plus 6. This is a perfect square. So today we're gonna use this as an answer. So remember in the past, if we expand this, all right, and we use the distributive property, if we multiply that out, we're gonna end up with this expanded form as n squared plus 12n plus 36, okay? So today we're gonna start with this. We're gonna figure out what we need here to make it a perfect square, and we're gonna end up with our perfect square here, right? So these are the two things that we're gonna be looking. We're gonna be going backwards. So we're gonna find a number to add to make it a perfect square, and then we're gonna create a perfect. So this completes the square, and this creates a perfect square. All right, let's get into our first example. So when your homework, your question is going to look like this. We have to find a number to add here, and then we're going to create a perfect square. So there's two parts, again, to solve this. So the first thing to get this one, we're going to use the formula b over 2 squared. So remember your a here is 1, our b is 16. So this gives me 16 divided by 2 squared. 16 divided by 2 gives me 8 squared. And 8 squared is going to give me 64. So now this creates a perfect square. To get the second part, it's always going to be in the form of, well, we're using x here. We're going to use whatever sign we have here. So we have plus, and this is going to be b over 2 squared, right? So in this case, we have x plus 16 divided by 2 squared. So that's going to give you a final answer of x plus 8 squared. So we use 64 to complete the square, and our perfect square is x plus 8. So those are the ones in the red are your two answers that I'm going to need on your homework. All right, here's the next problem we're going to do. So the only thing I need a squared here. So the only thing I change here is I have a negative here. So we're going to follow this the same way. We're going to see how this affects this one and our final answer. So again, for this one, we're going to use b over 2 squared. So here our b is negative 10 divided by 2 squared. Negative 10 divided by 2 gives me 5 squared. And that's going to give me a 25, positive 25, sorry. This should have been a negative 5 squared, and negative 5 times negative 5 is going to still give me a positive 25 here. So in here we're going to put positive 25. Okay. Now for this one, we're going to use the other formula. We got k, since I have a minus here, that's going to be a minus, and we're going to do b over 2 squared, right? So we got 10 over 2. It's already a minus here, squared. So now our perfect square is k minus 5 squared. So these two, 25 to complete the square, and your perfect square is k minus 5. So if we were to multiply this out, we would get that answer here. So to recap it, we're going to use b over 2 squared to complete the square, and then we're going to do variable plus or minus b over 2 squared to get your perfect square. So these are the two formulas that you're going to use for this homework.